Walking around Japan, the gardens are just absolutely gorgeous. They take a lot of pride in having these really nice gardens. Again, the cherry blossoms are at the end of their lives, at the end of their bloom cycle here. But as I was walking through this, I came across a Japanese military museum. Now, the thing about Japanese, the shrines, and they're very restrictive about what you can and can't film. So some things can be filmed, some things can't be filmed. So, you know, I do what I can of where I'm allowed to do it. So, and whenever you're in another country, I don't understand why people would brazenly break their laws. So, in Japan, I just love the country too much. I would never do anything like that.
This is the only place in the museum where you're allowed to film or take pictures. For the most part, it's just a military museum, and it encapsulates all the wars that Japan's been in. Basically, most of them start around the time of right after Perry opens Japan up, and then talks about the wars they've had with Korea and Russia over the years, and even the Opium Wars and some of the other conflicts they were somewhat involved in. Then you get to World War II, and you see a bunch of their propaganda on World War II, like how were they were the kind of the good guys. And then they have this big thing on war heroes. I think that's a zero. It was very advanced for its time. It was very advanced for its time, the zero. It was better than I think the initial US planes. We quickly caught up. Their torpedoes were a lot better than ours too. That was one of the things that really surprised people at Pearl Harbor, is that nobody thought you could fire a torpedo in that shallow water from a plane, yet they were able to. Most of all their stuff is in Japanese, so you have to understand some of it, and you also need to find the English stuff where you can. You've got a film here where they actually show them like marching down with the army's marching down, and where the army sees the army's marching, not only do they have the Japanese flags out, they have Nazi flags out, because they were in a alliance with Nazi Germany. Right through that drawer is the Hall of Heroes, where they have a lot of immortalized things, a lot of letters from people. For the most part, nobody wrote a letter talking about wrote a letter talking about serving the emperor. They talked about serving their country and how they had a lot of faith. So. For the most part, obviously Japan was fighting more often in jungles, so tanks were not really their forte. So, they were proud of their Navy. They beat Russia in a couple battles. Well, the museum was nice. I knew when I was coming here that the museums were tended to not allow you to take photos, and also most of the shrines, so I knew I probably wasn't going to get much video, but I liked it. It has a lot of personal correspondence with people who were in the war. Letters from home, soldiers. Huh, okay. But I think it's worth it. It was only 1,000 yen to get in. So, then you get the whole kind of thing. Kind of English light. There's a couple little paragraphs here and there, but there's enough to kind of get the gist of what's going on. They got some interesting stuff. I thought it was worth it, kind of to see, especially the personal letters from the soldiers, kind of see what they thought. Again, most of them just talked about like how they were doing it for their country, so it wasn't all like because the emperor, they thought they were doing the best thing for their country. So kind of interesting, because this is a part of the world. If you don't hear a lot about like a lot of the wars they had. You know, the first Opium War or the Anglo-Siamese War, or the Russia War. So more of Japan to see.